Hello, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados. My name is Hakon, and today I will again journey into the comic book superhero world of fighting fantasy gamebook number 17, Appointment with Fear. Well, F.E.A.R, really. And this is the fourth time I'm playing it. Last time I decided to take a somewhat different path from the first two times, and I think it paid off because I did discover some very nice and interesting places to go. There's still more to discover. Let's see what I can find this time. So I'll be with you in a few seconds on my desk, ready to go. Boom. Okay, there we are, ready on my desk with the book, with my character sheet. This is from last time when I got 8 hero points, by the way. I forgot to check I couldn't find out where the character sheet was from the time before that, so I don't know how many hero points I got. I'll have to look it up on YouTube. Got my map, got my pens, found my blue pen, and got dice, and I got a nice cup of tea today, and it's a different cup than my usual cup, and the reason is, well, the other cup is, as you probably will have noticed, my favorite cup because I've been using it all the time, but it started getting a crack on the inside as well. Now, the thing about porcelain getting cracks is the problem isn't just that it's got a weak spot and it might actually crack completely, which of course could happen. But if you get a crack on the inside of a plate or a cup, it is actually almost impossible to clean inside it, and it actually is a good growth surface for bacteria and things like that. So one really shouldn't use a piece of stoneware or porcelain that has got cracks in it on the inside from a hygienic point of view. If you go to a restaurant, for instance, if they have anything that looks a bit like a crack in their stuff, they just have to throw it away. Or at least they are required to throw it away. So there you go. And this is my souvenir mug from one of my trips to Poland. So this is presumably some kind of traditional style Polish pattern, I guess. How authentic it is, I don't know, but it looks nice to me anyway. Okay, right, so let's get started. So, new character sheet. So we've got skill, stamina, luck. Not so many luck rolls in this one so far. Some other books, there are so many luck rolls, it's scary, and it's sort of, if you don't take the right path, you're going to run out of luck, and even if you do take the right path, you might run out of luck. It's a bit ridiculous sometimes. Okay, skill. 11. Stamina. 20. And luck. 9. And I'll probably go with super strength again because the thing about this book is you have different superpowers, and if you choose different ones, some sections of the book will be different depending on which one you've got, and also it varies which path is ideal depending on which superpower you've got as well. Right, so I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to do all the details of the background now. I think by now that you know that I am Jean, or possibly Jean Lafayette, whose mother partook in some genetic experiments before I was born, and so and in your teens it then became apparent you had a superpower after the scientists and doctors had actually stopped examining you because they thought that everything was normal. So you can choose from 1 to 4. No, not 1 to 4. You can choose one of 4 superpowers. And I go with super strength, which means you are really, really strong, and your skill is 13. And then, depending on which superpower you choose, you get different clues. I am in short, yes, just double checking. So you got three. So for each of your superpowers, you have one clue. That is the first clue, and then you've got a second one you can choose from as well. And each of these different superpowers have different clues. So the superpowers you can choose: super strength, psi powers, so psychic ability. You can read minds and also have some limited telekinesis as well. Enhanced technological skill (ETS) means you're very good at constructing and using gadgets. Energy blast, you can create like sort of a blast of energy, well, literally, from your fingers by channeling the energy, and those are the different ones you can choose from. So I'm choosing super strength, and I get 13 skill, and then I have to choose my clue. Now, of course, I'm going to choose the last one now just to see what it is. I didn't find. Well, last time I sort of chose a clue, and the only reference to that clue that I found was actually when I went into a trap and I died, because I think there was some mention of something to do with the clue. So at which time, of course, it's too late and I can't do anything about it. But today I'm going to do the last clue, which is 280, just to see what it is. Because if I come across the references to these clues anywhere on my map now, I will know which clue to take to get to that if I plan to go that route later. So that is what makes the most sense. Okay. Recently, you have learned the true identities of several of the crime world's most notorious supervillains. The tormentor has been identified as Richard Storm, an uptown heating engineer. The Ice Queen is none other than Sylvia Frost. Good one. Society debutante. And Marcus Boletta is known to be the gruesome Dr. Macabre. Yeah, well, with that kind of name, what do you expect him to be? Whose terrible experiments in surgery have shocked the world. Boletta has been planning a jailbreak for months. When he does so, he is likely to rob a chemist immediately for surgical equipment and chemicals. Now, that means that if I find a reason to go to a chemist, that's what's going to happen there. Okay, so that's quite a useful thing to know. I'll just put in here. So we got Richard Storm. If I come across any of these, Tormentor. Didn't I fought a Tormentor, didn't I? Not last time, but the time before. Sylvia Frost is the Ice Queen. And Marcus Boletta, who, well, I had a clue for him last time, and for someone else as well. Can't remember exactly what that clue was now, but something to do with him. He is Dr. Macabre. Okay. Right, and also chemists. I'll put there. So that means if there is a choice between something and a chemist, I can go to a chemist, and I know that that is going to be a supervillain, and I know that the supervillains have major clues. That is to say, they had clues to the location of the secret meeting that I'm supposed to stop. Right, so, and last time I forgot to do the background or the intro. I went straight for paragraph 1, so I'm going to do that now. And here we are. The time of your birth was an anxious moment for your parents and their doctors. Your mother had consented to undergo an experimental form of genetic surgery. The doctors had warned her of the dangers of the radiation experiments. Their research program was nowhere near complete, but this she already knew, for she herself was one of the researchers. The work had reached the stage where progress was impossible without testing it on a human subject. Your father had not fully understood the implications. Am I sharp enough on... Yeah, looks like it. Your father had not fully understood the implications when he gave his consent, and 8 pairs of apprehensive eyes watched your arrival into the world. The first reaction was one of relief. You certainly seemed a normal, healthy baby. Postnatal tests showed no physical deformities whatsoever. In fact, you appeared to be a fine specimen. In your younger years, your development was carefully monitored with a seemingly endless series of physiological and psychological tests, all of which you passed with flying colors. The doctors and researchers congratulated themselves. Their experiments were a complete success. However, the experiments had been conducted in a shroud of secrecy. Had the world known of the risks of the experiment, public outcry would have been overwhelming. It would certainly have put an end to further genetic research. And from your mother's point of view, she had no wish to have the world regard you as an experimental freak. Well, she is to blame after all, but only a few knew what had really happened. Over the years, the testing stopped as the doctors felt more and more certain that there was no need to monitor your progress. As fate would have it, it was just when this testing stopped that it became clear that you were anything but a normal child. Your latent superhuman powers did not show themselves until after the doctors had lost interest. Well, speaking of which, by the way, I forgot to mention, when you have super strength in this book, you also have the ability to fly, which is pretty cool. Your parents, who had become thoroughly fed up with the endless tests, decided that your extraordinary powers must remain a secret from the world. They had no wish to have you studied as some kind of freak for the rest of your life. Well, if you didn't wish that, why did you conduct the experiments in the first place? Okay. Now, you have a regular job working in an office of a medium-sized company, but when duty calls, that's not the duty of work, but you become the Silver Crusader, upholder of justice, and you have taken an oath to serve in the fight against crime in Titan City. Apart from your own super abilities, you have one other device to aid you, your crime watch. That is like a smartwatch, basically. This neat little device, worn around your wrist, receives and broadcasts transmissions to and from your 2 most important allies. You can be contacted by police headquarters through this crime watch, and you can also summon the police to aid you, which I don't think you have the option of doing very often. Certainly don't seem to do it. And you can also summon, in addition, your friend and underworld contact Jerry the Grass is able to warn you of impending crimes through the crime watch. Jerry the Grass has recently become aware of an important meeting about to take place within the next few days. Vladimir Utoshki, leader of F.E.A.R, Federation of Euro-American Rebels, has been summoning his aides in crime to meet in Titan City. Utoshki, is also known as the Titanium Cyborg, is a supervillain whose field of expertise is the electronic enhancement of human abilities, so cyborg stuff. He is part man, part machine. Well, he is a cyborg, and very dangerous. Jerry the Grass has not yet found out where or when the meeting is due, but one thing is certain. Its purpose is to finalize plans for a scheme which would mean disaster for the Western world. The meeting must be stopped. You must find out where and when this meeting is due to take place and prevent it at all costs. Apart from killing people, obviously, because I'm a good guy. Right, so let's start on paragraph 1, after another sip of tea, I guess. As you walk the 10 blocks to work that morning, you can't help but feel that something is not quite right. You stop by a telephone booth to consider what it could be. The sounds of the city are the usual 8 a.m. cacophony. Cars and buses bounce past along Clark Street, the drivers too sleepy even to try to avoid the pits and the bumps in the road. A newspaper vendor bawls an incomprehensible headline, something about a robbery, at the crowds of men and women milling past him on their ways to work. Overhead, in the sky, the rhythmic beating of a traffic copter's blades fades into the distance. An argument is taking place between an elderly businessman and an overlarge woman with an untrained dog, whose sidewalk deposits have offended the businessman. There is nothing unusual. Or is there? The difference is only barely perceptible, but there is a distinct air of tension in the streets. There are nervous twitches in the eyes of the passers-by. The cars are accelerating and braking in a jittery manner. Little things like that. To your heightened senses, the atmosphere is pregnant. Today will not be just another day. Your thoughts are broken by the high-pitched wailing of a police siren. A yellow and black Cougar GS screeches round the corner and leaps ahead through the Clark Street traffic before swinging left into Audubon Park. Behind it, the traffic settles back into its regular flow. Your attention drifts back to the argument. A small crowd is built up around the man and woman. Raised voices are taking one side or the other, and the situation is beginning to look nasty. What will you do next? Go over and see if you can break up the argument? Run after the police car into Audubon Park? Buy a newspaper to find out about the robbery, or ignore all these incidents and go to work? Now, the thing about going to work is that you tend to be late for work, and so you get told off by your boss. But interestingly, and this is actually a continuity error in the book, you're actually on your way to work now. You are not late, but if you choose to go to work, you come into work and you are late. So I may as well do one of the other things, because going to work is not going to help anything, it seems like. So although you do get different, the thing is, you do get different paragraphs when you get to work, and different things happen. So if you go to work, there's a different incident involving a car crash that happens outside the office that otherwise, I presume, would not have taken place. Anyway, so I'll just move the T off to the side there. Right, let's see what I did last time was. So so far I've gone into the park, so I know how that pans out, most of it, not all of it. I have gone to work, I know how that pans out. So that leaves the argument and the newspaper. I'm going to go with the argument this time and have a look at that. Now, I did look at the paragraph 2 playthroughs ago, because I just wanted to see if it still allowed me to go into the park, which it didn't. At the time, I thought that's what I wanted to do, because I wanted to, because the first time I played it, I had the wrong clue. I picked the wrong clue in the beginning, accidentally. And so I would have had the clue that would have led me to the villain that was responsible for what happened in the park. So that's why I wanted to do that on my second playthrough. But I'm not fussed about that now. Now I'm actually mapping out the possibilities so that I can find the optimum route through and hopefully finally solve this mystery. And so I will go with the argument this time, because I haven't done it before. So if given the choice, I will try to do something different. Right. Do you wish to step into the crowd in street clothes, or nip around the corner to change into the Silver Crusader? And there's our first nip of the day. So basically, every time you play a game book written by Steve Jackson himself, if you got a sort of a bingo card, you can put several nips on it, and that would actually help you get a full house eventually. Right. He does like the word nip. I like the word nip. Nipping around the corner to change into the Silver Crusader. So I think I should become the Silver Crusader for this one. So I'm going to go and Silver Crusade a little bit, because there's nothing more important for a superhero to deal with than a little bit of dog poo on the sidewalk. In your shimmering costume, you step towards the crowd. If you have ETS, turn to 418, like a sort of a high-tech pooper scooper, maybe. If you have psi powers, turn to 9, otherwise turn to 149. Right, so so I got 3 options there. I'll just put them like so, and I'm sure there'll be room for other things later. So we have 418 ETS. This book does have more than 400 paragraphs, by the way. It goes up to 440, I believe. 9 for psi powers, excuse me, and 149, none. So I don't have ETS, I don't have psi powers. I've got a cup of tea. You need psi powers when you got a cup of tea. And I'll, which means I'm going to 149, which also means I might be useless in this situation. It doesn't really call for super strength, does it? I mean, sorting out an argument over dog poo. As you appear, hushed silence spreads across the crowd. Your contemptuous look has its desired effect. They look at each other sheepishly and shuffle off along the sidewalk, going about their business. With the situation now well diffused, you step up to the dog's mistress and reprimand her for allowing her dog to foul the footpath. Your duties as a citizen performed, you can now resume your alter ego. But the thing is that allowing your dog to soil the footpath, the thing is, I mean, a dog will do its, I mean, there's very few people who actually control when and where the dog does a doo-doo, because the thing is that if you deny the dog to do a doo-doo when it needs to do a doo-doo, it can actually get quite uncomfortable for it. So the normal thing to do is make sure your dog has a good diet so that the doo-doo isn't all soggy and what's the word I'm looking for? Pasty. And then you use the doggy bag and you pick it up. It's not very hard. But apparently it looks like it's very hard for some people. Even when it's illegal and you can get fined for it. Because people don't get fined for it. They should get fined for it a lot more. Right. Your duties as a citizen performed, you can now resume your alter ego and either set off again for work or go and buy a newspaper. Okay, so this actually allows me to buy a newspaper, but also it doesn't actually give me anything interesting whatsoever. So, but I suppose if I'd had psi powers or ETS, maybe there would have been something more useful there. But in any case, so that allows me to go to work or buy a newspaper. Okay, so that means that there is so that's, I'll buy the newspaper then. So I 2 for 1 really. I get to go to do both at the same time. Let's see, 6 minutes left on my camera before I have to restart it. Again, like last time, I am now using my proper camera for my overhead camera, and it really did. I was looking at the video I did the last one, and it looks so much sharper. The colors might be a little bit off today because I've got the light on in the ceiling as well. I might fix that later if I'm bothered. I actually like the slightly warm tone as well. Right. You study the newspaper. Under the headline, Alchemists in Cleveland, the story describes how the notorious gang of chemical experts entered a branch of the Cleveland Bank on 113th Street at 4 a.m., bypassed the alarm, locked the security guard in the vault on a time switch, and made off with a number of safe deposit boxes. Although it was impossible to tell how much was taken in the raid, claims from the owners of the deposit boxes are now coming in. Apart from the cash, many valuable papers had been stolen. Do you want to investigate the robbery as a Silver Crusader, or will you see what else is in the paper? So, and here we have the chemists looking like, well, triplets. It looks like they all look the same to me. They all look like chemistry professors, don't they? Yeah. Right, so we've got 2 options, which is exactly what there was room for, luckily. So we either got 112 in investigate or 386 read on. I'll put that read on. I'm going to investigate the robbery as the Silver Crusader and go to 112. The police and bank officials fall silent as you step through the door of the bank. Do you wish to interrogate the branch manager of the bank, the chief detective investigating the case, or the security guard? Right. I'm not sure if the security guard would have much to say because he would have been knocked out quite quickly, it looks like. So 3 options. 1, 2, and 3. I'll put them like that. So 420. My map is going to get a little bit cramped, even though I did try to avoid that. 2, 5, 9. Okay. So security guard, sec, chief detective, or manager. Right. I mean, in the real world, where you don't have superheroes, I think it would make sense to ask the chief detective, because if you're the superhero and the police is always being honest with you, he would already have the information from the security guard and the branch manager, because I mean, seriously, how long ago has this robbery been? Obviously, because it's in the newspaper already, which means they have plenty of time to investigate. I'm going to ask the chief detective. So there we are, 3, 2, 3. The chief detective is contemptuous about superheroes. Oh, he's one of those, isn't he? In his eyes, fighting crime is a job for the police, not for what he calls amateur detectives. Yeah. Nevertheless, you do find some information about the event. The alchemists, masters of advanced chemistry, had neutralized the alarm with some sort of acidic gas, which delayed its being activated as they forced their way in. Another unknown compound had dissolved the security lock on the main door. Why the security guard had not noticed the intruders was still a mystery, which would only be solved when the time lock released him from the vault. Oh, he's still in the vault. But now he assures you that the situation is well under control in his hands. There is no need for any amateur in fancy pants to get involved. Turn to 60. Okay, so turn to 60. Okay. Amateur in fancy pants. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Okay, restarting camera now. Right, I am back. Now, another problem, of course, last video you noticed I actually lost about almost 10 minutes of footage, which was very annoying, of course. The thing is, I've also, in addition to recording now with this camera that only does half an hour, I'm also doing it recording in 4K, even though I'm only creating a full HD video file at the end, because it actually gets sharper, and I also have the option of zooming in and things like that if I need to, so I think I'll get used to doing that. Now, the problem then is that on a 32GB memory card, which is what I've got, there's room for 1/2 hour recording of 4K, and then there's only room left for another 20 minutes or so, or a little bit less than 20 minutes. So I've decided, well, I sort of looked it up yesterday and found that I can use a 64GB card in the camera, and of course they are much, much cheaper now than when I bought the camera. So I'm going to, so I bought a 64GB card that I should get today. And when I get that, it means I can do 3 half-hour recordings in one go without having to take the memory card out of the camera, put it into my computer, and offload the video files, which is what I have to do now every time I restart my camera. So it will be a lot easier once I've got my new memory card to do this. So I'm doing 4K recording and HD uploads, and the quality is so much better. I'm not going to do 4K uploads to YouTube because I think you gain so little from it. I mean, it takes my video software probably 3 times as long to encode. It would take a few times longer to upload. It would take a few times longer to for YouTube to process as well. So everything will be slowed down seriously. And to be honest, I don't think 4K is worth it. Yeah, but it's good for recording because it gives you more options for processing, for instance. Right. Amateur in fancy pants. Yes, turn to 60. Right. So I am an amateur in fancy pants and I turn to 60. There we go. Just before you leave, you talk to one of the police officers who lives near Starker's Beach. There are reports of the sighting of a giant shark just off the beach, and he would be grateful if you would investigate it. He has 2 children who swim every weekend, and he's worried about their safety. You tell him you look into it. If you wish to go to the beach straight away, turn to 72. If not, turn to 98. Okay, that is an interesting side quest, I suppose, if I can call it that. I'm going to... Oh, this is going to be really tight squeeze on my map now, but I'll put that up there. And I'll just have to make room for the other stuff here when I get to it, I guess. So we have 2 options, which is looking into it right away. 72, a beach, or a 98 later. I'm going to the beach. Let's go to the beach. Everything seems to be normal when you arrive, whatever that means, at Starker's Beach. Hundreds of families are sunning themselves and splashing about in the water. Barely dressed girls are swaying in pairs along the walkway, tittering as they pass groups of muscle-bound gigolos who try to attract their attention. How cliché. Suddenly, a single scream pierces the general hubbub. A woman's voice yells, "Shark! Shark!" The reaction is immediate. The bathers panic and flee from the water towards the beach in a human wave. Your reaction is immediate too. What is your power? ETS, Energy Blast, Psi Power, or Super Strength. Okay, so we have... Now, where do I make room for this now? Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm going to move this little thing down here because there's no room up here. So I will have to move something at some point anyway, so it may as well be this, because now there are 4 options, which is quite a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 299, 180, 146, or 55, and that is ETS, Energy, Psi, or Strength. Okay, so 55 is mine with my Super Strength. Let's see how that goes. That should be easy though. I'm in the Shark and Super Strength, surely. You dive up into the air and zoom out over the water. The woman was right. Some 30 meters out from the beach and advancing fast towards a young boy who is still in the water is the ominous black fin of a ripper shark. You plunge down into the sea to take on the monster. Turn to 294. 294. With a tremendous splashing, the fight commences. Now this would give me lots of hero points, surely. Right, so we got this shark. It's 10 skill, that's quite high. When the shark has inflicted its 4th wound on you, turn to 95. If you defeat the shark before it has inflicted 4 wounds, turn to 197, interestingly. Okay, so we have... Let's put those over here. It's a ripper shark, after all. I suppose with 4 wounds, it actually starts ripping you open. So 95. 4 wounds, or 197. Right. Okay, so, and in this case, of course, this is not someone I will arrest. This is for killing, not for arresting. So I will not take his stamina down to 2 or 1 like I would with a human being that I don't want to kill. So I will have to get him down to 0. So I've got a skill, 13, stamina 20. He has 10 and 8. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. Let's see how that goes. He rolls a 9. I roll a 7. That means I hit him. 5 and 9. Yeah. I don't know. It's been ages since I've explained how combat works, and I used to do it in every video, but do I need to? So basically, you have a skill that tells you how good you are at fighting, and I roll 2 dice for my opponent. So, and I add his skill, and I roll 2 dice for me, and I add my skill, and whoever is higher is the one that wins the combat round, and the opponent of the one that wins the round takes 2 stamina damage. If the numbers are equal, it's a draw and nobody gets injured. The easiest way for me to calculate this in my head, instead of adding the numbers, is to think of the skill difference. So in this case, I've got 3 advantage, which means that he needs to roll, if he rolls 3 higher than me, then it's a draw. And if he rolls higher than that again, then he injures me. And if he rolls lower than 3 higher, then I injure him. So he rolls a 5, which means I need to roll 2. If I roll a 2, it's a draw. If I roll anything else, I injure him. So I roll an 8. And that's the quickest way to do combat, I think. He rolls a 9. I roll a 9, so he is dead. The fastest way to calculate it in your head is to think of the skill difference. Okay. So he didn't injure me at all. And I go to 197 because I defeated the shark before it inflicted 4 wounds. Just out of curiosity, what happens if you do get 4 wounds? Because that's never going to happen with super strength, is it? Oh. Well, you fail. And actually, that's an interesting thing. I think that in a case like this, when you fail to do something heroic, you actually should lose hero points, I think. Anyway. So, where was I going? I was going to 197. Having defeated the shark, you turn to the young boy who is splashing about in the water, terrified. You calm him down, lift him out of the sea, and carry him back to the beach, where his sobbing mother is waiting. She thanks you again and again and wants to know if she can do anything in return. Her uncle runs a circus, and she could get you the best seats. Okay, there was an option for going to the circus at some point that I've seen in my first 2 playthroughs. So maybe that will be an interesting way to go about it. So you humor her and thank her for her generous offer, but insist that there really is no need. But your protests are of no avail. She writes down a telephone number. Okay, so we got 4445666. Captain Menagerie. That sounds like a villain, doesn't it? So Captain Menagerie. Anytime you would like to see his show. She goes on and on about this uncle of hers. She tells you that he is the ringmaster of a circus and has a strange habit. He has a secret office reached underneath the lion's cage where he keeps his money and papers. Okay. This information may be useful to you. If you ever need to find him, you may search for him by adding 50 to the reference you are on when you reach a lion's cage. So lion's cage plus 50 equals secret office. Okay. By now, this woman is becoming a pest. You excuse yourself. You really must be on your way. After secretly changing back into your street clothes, you head for home. Turn to 18. Right, so 18. We've been to 18 before, haven't we? So, so here we have a clue. Let's see, let's do like so. So here we have a clue. So clue, and that is for the circus. And then we are going to 18. Okay. And this is where I was last time, so I didn't go in to work at all, did I? My boss is not going to be best pleased, is he? Okay. What a day. You slump into a chair in front of the TV and relax with a long cold drink. You may add 6 stamina points for the rest. One thing disturbs you. Your boss, Jonah White, will be livid when you turn up for work tomorrow. Or he won't be best pleased, as we say in Britain. You will have to invent some pretty convincing excuses. The next morning, you set off to work early. This time, you will travel by subway to make sure you get to work on time, although you could have just flown there, to be honest. But since when has a superhero's life ever been easy? Help! Shouts a voice further up the crowded carriage. Pickpocket! And this is where there's a there's an error in the book in a way, because you can actually get back to this very place and sort out the pickpocket later, even though this happened now. Yes, so it's a time warp in here. Anyway, just what you needed. You force your way through the crowd on the busy train. As you reach the pickpocket's victim, that familiar beep, beep, beep sounds from your crime watch. Its electronic voice speaks. Cowfield, Dairy, fast. Typical. Another dilemma. The train stops at a station only a block away from Cowfield Dairy. Will you leap out and see what is happening there, or will you instead aid the pickpocket's victim? Now, I know that, of course, I can go to the dairy and go back to the pickpocket victim afterwards, even though that seems like it shouldn't be possible, and it sort of almost feels like cheating. It's how the book is structured. So I'm going to go to the dairy, 369, unless I misread something last time. So you change in a convenient alley and head for the dairy. When you arrive at the gates, everything seems to be in order. Milk floats are returning from their daily rounds, and thousands of bottles are chinking their way along conveyors. There is no sign of danger. A short-tailed tabby cat, which we of course know is the what was she called again? The tiger, something tiger anyway. It's like Catwoman, basically. A short-tailed tabby cat, no doubt a stray, is trying to get in through the gates. You pick the hungry creature up and stroke it. As you wait, your eye catches a familiar-looking figure turning the corner and walking towards you. It is Chainsaw Bronski, a well-known murderer who you thought was well behind bars. Will you apprehend the villain? Or does your first duty lie with the needy, and will you instead take the cat to a cat's home? Clearly, Steve Jackson is a cat person when he can write like that about a cat. Right, so what did I get from sorting out the cat lady? I got a clue about CM. What was that again? 1, 2, 4. I don't think it wasn't a major clue, it was a minor clue. The man trapper. But that's not so important right now. I know that I get a clue from taking the cat to a cat's home, and I know what the clue is, but I still don't know where the reference to that clue is, and so it will be more productive for me to go the other path now, which I haven't taken before, and seeing if that gives me some clues as well. And then if one day I found that the clue I got from defeating the cat woman is the one that's most useful for me to have the correct path through the book, then I will go for that. But the thing is that cat woman clue, in the beginning you get a clue for that, but it's not the one you get if you have super strength. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go after Chainsaw Bronski. So I'm going to go to paragraph 3. You hide behind the gate until Bronsky is close. When you can hear his footsteps approaching, you spring out to confront him. The startled killer reaches into his coat and pulls out a weapon, a battery-powered electric knife. Battery-powered electric knife. Resolve your combat with him. So, 8. And then we go to 93 if we beat him. So I'll put that up there. 93. So he has 8. So I've got a skill advantage of 5, which is pretty good. He rolls a 6. I roll a 5. He's got 6 stamina left. He rolls a 5. I roll a 4. He's got 4 stamina left. He rolls a 9. I roll a 7, and he's down to 2. He is knocked unconscious, and I can bring him to the authorities. So I'm going to go to 93 now. You take the murderer to police headquarters. On the way, he pleads with you not to turn him in. He even gives you some useful information. Apparently, the serpent has been spurned by his actress girlfriend, Lola Manche. Lola Manche, didn't I hear something about her? Lola Manche. I know about Lola Manche. I've heard the name before. She is famous for her quote, "I don't want to be a star, I just want to be an ordinary girl." That's funny. So she's a bit like Marilyn Monroe then, I suppose. She always takes the poorest of dressing rooms and has decided to give up her life of decadence as the serpent's girl. Oh, hang on, this is something that... Yes, there was something I encountered 2 playthroughs ago, wasn't it? She got kidnapped. And she was... Because, yeah, oh yes, you went to the theater and she got kidnapped, and then you have to pick a dressing room. And clearly I picked the wrong one. Because you're supposed to go to the most anonymous one first, and that's where she would be. Okay. So, she always takes the poorest of dressing rooms and has decided to give up her life of decadence as the serpent's girl. He has sworn that by hook or by crook she will return to him. Of course, you will not give way to deals with criminals, but you may add 1 luck point for this information. Okay, so we've got a clue. So clue, Lola Manche. Let's put that right there. Minor clue again. And also there is +1 luck, +1 hero point. So hero point 1. Oh, hang on. Didn't I get some hero points for the shark that I forgot about? Hang on. Let's see, 197. Surely I must have got some hero points there. I didn't get hero points for defeating the shark? Huh. That surely must be an error, because, I mean, seriously, you're on the beach with full of people and they see you defeat the shark that is threatening them. That would have been hero points galore. Anyway, that's all right. The clue is more important, but yeah, hero points. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're a superhero, you want to play the game, don't you? You want to get your hero points. You want to get your achievements and your rewards and things, and you want to go up in level, and you want to get your likes. Right. Right, so turn to 67, which is the same as I would have got to if I'd defeated the cat lady. So basically you have to get one or the other in this case. Right. You must start thinking about getting back to work. Outside it is starting to rain. Just your luck. Head for work by turning to 111 if you don't know of anywhere else to go. And this means this is how you, in the book, or one of the ways in the book, that it tells you that here is a hint that this is where you can turn to another page if you have the right clue. I don't have any clues to do with the rain, but that means there is a secret paragraph linked to this. And this is actually really clever game design, by the way. I'm really, really impressed with this. I really like the way that is done, how you have the clues. I mean, imagine this could have been done in you could have done a sort of whodunit or a detective investigation kind of game book, and you could have used a similar mechanism and it would have worked really well. Anyway, very fascinating mechanic, and of course one of the things I'm doing when I'm playing through all the fighting fantasy books now is I'm learning about game book mechanics and how game books are structured and what I like, what I don't like, because I do actually intend to write one day. So I'm doing research. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so 111. You change back into street clothes and get a move on. You are late for work again. Well, that seems to be the most common thing. You turn the corner onto Clark Street and stop as you pass Harold's department store. A thought has crossed your mind. You could stop and buy your boss a present of some kind to apologize for being late. But then this would make you even later. Is it worth it? If you wish to go in and look for a suitable gift, turn to 429. If you want to go to work as quickly as possible, turn to 301. So this is where last time I went in to get a gift, because that's more interesting, of course. So I'm going to go in and see if I can find a gift for him. What can you get him? An apple? And of course, this is from the mid-80s, and apple doesn't mean anything by Apple, like a Mac or an iPhone or anything. It actually means the fruit, an apple. Do you remember those? Yes, okay. Keeps the doctor away and stuff. A bottle of whiskey, a new tie. You decide to go for something a little more imaginative. Do you want to head downstairs to the book department or upstairs to the games department? I know what happens upstairs in the games department. We have some rowdy boys who kicks up a fuss and starts breaking things, burning things, and you can defeat them. So I know that works. I want to see what happens down in books. So I'm going to go to 42 now. You look through the shelves for something unusual. What would he like? A biography? A thriller? You stop at a new section in the shop. Could be just right. Part game, part novel, eh? You buy him a copy of The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. That is so meta. It's fascinating. Okay. And that is actually the boring way to go. I don't want to go down there, because now you actually are going straight to work afterwards, which means you miss out on the other stuff. I'm going to 301. I don't want to go that way because I missed the other stuff there. So that means I will set that every time I get here, I will want to go to games. Okay, 301. Lafayette, get in here at once. No sooner had you stepped through the office door than Jonah White's booming voice summoned you. You creep into his office, mumbling scanty excuses for being late yet again. Enough, he yells. What do you think we are running here? A charity? Do you suppose I should be grateful that you even grace us with your presence? Very noble of you indeed to even bother coming in at all. Yeah, I'm wondering too sometimes. Well, I tell you what, I'm feeling kind today. You can have the rest of the day off. Without pay. And if you're not in first thing tomorrow morning, you can start looking for another job. You slink out of his office with your tail between your legs. How can you tell him what you've been doing? And now you've been suspended for a day. Where will you go? Will you spend the day at Disneyland, the amusement park? Or will you avoid all contact with the outside world and go home to make sure you get an early start in the morning? Turn to 218. Okay, so where is 218? Surely I would have that already on my map. wouldn't I? 218 or not. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so so 218 is an option, and I'll say what was the other one? 218 or Disneyland, of course, which I've got to before, which was, where is Disneyland? I've definitely been there before. Maybe it's a different entry paragraph, because sometimes you have a sort of a slightly different paragraphs leading into the same thing. I can't see it anywhere. Okay, anyway, first of all, I need to move my mapping to the right place. Maybe if let's see, I'll just move it over here, perhaps. So I can just do like so. I'll just put my options over here just to keep things reasonably tidy, if not the most legible. So, so my options were 15, Disneyland, or 218, home. So, well, clearly I am going to Disneyland. Going home seems to be a way to time. Although the thing is that if you went home now, that probably something would happen as well. But I do want to go to Disneyland because that's where I have my clue about the Scarlet Prankster. Okay, and I need to restart my video, so excuse me for a moment. Right, I am back, and it just decided to get really sunny outside. I hope this is not too bright now. It looks okay. I could have put on I've got a sort of Velcro blind I can put on my window, which I sometimes need to get the for making videos, but I'll leave it for now. So I think I'll be okay. At least the book doesn't look like it's burnt out or anything with exposure, so I think we'll be okay. Right, so Disneyland is swarming with holidaymakers enjoying their day out at the amusement park. The smell of candy floss and hot dogs hangs in the air, and as you stroll about, youngsters clutching stuffed animals run laughing past you. Screams of delight from roller coaster riders turning through the corkscrew break through the general... No. Screams of delight from roller coaster riders turning through the corkscrew break through the general hubbub. And hubbub seems to be another of Steve Jackson's favorite words, by the way. You are going to enjoy yourself today. Which ride do you want to try? The Big Dipper, the Fun House, or the Dodgems? I know that the Scarlet Prankster is in the Fun House, and excuse me just a moment because I just heard a... I'll wait until afterwards. Just a mail arriving, which means I might get my memory card, but I just started recording another one. So actually, after I've done this half hour, if I need to record any more, I'll try the new memory card then. Okay, so the Funhouse 174 is the one that I know is... well, there it is. There's number 15 there. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so there was a number 15. So I can... move this one up here, so 15 up there, and it is there, so 15. I knew I had a 15 somewhere. Okay, right. Funhouse 174. Now, maybe I shouldn't do the Funhouse because, well, I know what the Funhouse does. I know the Scarlet Prankster is there. But the thing is, the Scarlet Prankster is someone you can only catch if you have super strength. I'm not going to win this game now because I would have missed too many clues. I may as well try something else just to see what that involves, if there's anything else fun any other kind of fun things you can do in Disneyland. So I may as well just go somewhere else. So we got Big Dipper or Dodgems. Let's do the Big Dipper. So 187. You climb into a carriage behind a couple with a young daughter. As you set off up the long climb, the excitement is mounting. Squeals come from the riders as the first steep drop lifts their stomachs. Yeah, not a big fan. It is not until you reach the first sharp bend that you notice the danger. The young girl in the seat in front of you is wearing a safety harness which is hanging on by only a couple of threads. As you streak into the bend and are wrenched to the right, the harness snaps and the girl lurches across the carriage. Can you rescue her before she falls to her death? Roll 2 dice and compare the total with your skill. If the roll exceeds your skill, turn to 224, otherwise turn to 415. Test skill. And this is, of course, where I can't really fail, can I? Let's see. So 224, fail, and 415. Success. Okay. Yep. 415. Quick as a flash, you reach forward and grab the girl in the nick of time before she plunges to certain death. Her parents are horrified at the dreadful accident which might have occurred. When the ride is over, they thank you profusely for saving their daughter's life. You decide that you have had enough of Disneyland. Turn to 103. Okay, so that is the end of your day of fun there. Where are you heading as you leave Disneyland? Will you make your way downtown to do some shopping or go home? If you decide to go home, you may either want to rest for the evening, in which case you may gain 6 stamina points, or you may wish to sacrifice stamina gain and spend the evening at the theater if you can get a ticket for tonight's performance of Rats. That's what I'll do, because this is where the clue is to do with Lola Manche, because she is the one in the performance and she gets kidnapped in the middle of the performance. Okay, so I think, if I remember correctly now, so I'm going to 43. I'm going to go to see Rats, the musical. You are in luck. A ticket for tonight's performance has just been handed in. It is not the best seat in the house, but you get a good view of the show. It is all about a group of rats who live in a rubbish tip and sing to each other for amusement. A rather peculiar plot, you think. But you are particularly taken by the star, Lola Manche. In the last scene, as she is singing the title song, the show is interrupted. At first, you thought this character in the serpent's costume was part of the show, but when he picks her up in mid-song and runs off the stage, you realize that she has been kidnapped. You find a dark corner in the back of the theater and change costume. Will you wait outside the theater for the kidnapper to make his escape, or follow him backstage? You may remember your solution and decide against intervening. Did I have a resolution for that? I don't think so. If you will simply leave things be and go home. 10 to 79. Okay, so I've got going home, not an option. I think I'm going to go backstage, see if I can get this guy this time. So 169. You rush across the stage and disappear into one of the wings after the kidnapper. Stairs lead down to the dressing rooms. At the foot of the stairs are 3 rooms. Room number 1 has 2 stars on the door. The door to room number 2 has 1 star and is slightly ajar. Room number 3 has no stars on it. So, of course, the more stars, the more luxurious, the bigger the star that's supposed to be there. She is a star of the show, which means she is in the one without stars because she is an anti-diva. So she is going to be in dressing room 3, which I already knew, by the way, from last time, but now I even got the clue for it. So at 250. You enter the room and interrupt a struggle. Lola Manche is punching and kicking her would-be kidnapper, who is attempting to push her out of the window to escape from the theater. Judging by the mess all around the dressing room, clothes are strewn about and jars of makeup lie broken on the floor. The struggle has been going on for some time, but the serpent has almost succeeded in getting her through the window. You must leap in quickly before it is too late. So we have the serpent. The serpent has a powerful secret weapon. His poisonous bite, or venomous, possibly. Each time he hits you, roll 1 die. Roll a 1 or 2 indicates a bite, and the poison will take effect. Deduct 1 skill point each time you are bitten. That's quite harsh. However, the effects of the bite are only temporary. You will recover your skill after 1 full day. Okay. If you defeat the villain, turn to 432. Okay, so he has a skill of 8 and a stamina of 8, so I've got a 5 skill point advantage. And he rolls a 4, I roll a 4, he's down to 6. He rolls an 8, I roll 4, so that is, yeah, that's still me hitting him. He rolls a 9, I roll a 4, that is a draw. He rolls a 5, I roll a 4, and he is down to 2, which means he is knocked unconscious, and I defeat him. And then I go to 432. Let's just move that down there, I think. Okay, so 400. Hang on, that's not the right one. Is it 230? Yeah, 140 to 42. Okay. Luck plus 2. I think it looks like I've written something in the wrong place here because there's no luck plus 2 here. Okay, so this is an 8 fight. Okay, 432. Sometimes when you write your map, you write down the wrong notes in the wrong place. As the young starlet picks herself up and thanks you, the serpent moans and pleads for mercy. He can offer you some information and wants to do a deal. He will tell you what he knows if you will release him, but you have sworn to uphold justice and can agree to no such deal. You explain that you can only suggest that helping you by relating this information may make the judge a little easier on him. Reluctantly, he agrees. He tells you 2 pieces of information. First of all, you learn that the creature of carnage is in fact Ilya Karpov. Okay, so Ilya Karpov. Also, that would be with 1 L, not 2 L's. Ilya Karpov is the creature of carnage. So the creature of carnage. I wonder how useful it is. I mean, I've got all these sort of identities of different villains now that I'm sort of learning. Just haven't come across anywhere where that's useful. Maybe this is something that will be useful once you get to the meeting. I'm just guessing now. The creature of carnage is in fact Ilya Karpov, a known agent of F.E.A.R. Also, he has heard that there will be an assassination attempt on the life of the president when he visits Titan City. The killer will be hiding on the roof of the Regent Hotel. So president, roof, Regent Hotel. I know that the killer, of course, the would-be killer is not in the crowd because that's where the decoy is. If you decide to watch the president's arrival, add 100 to the reference you're on when you arrive to apprehend the assassin. So that is plus 100. Yeah. You may add 2 luck points for this information. Okay, and then 2 hero points. Okay, so clue plus 2 HP. Just the clue color there, and then it is so president's president. Okay, so that's a major clue, possibly not a major clue necessarily. Okay, so 79. I'm going to 79. 9, which is going home. There we are. 79. Okay. After a good night's sleep, you set off for work the next morning. To your great relief, your crime watch does not sound at all, and you actually arrive before Jonah White, who is astounded to find you hard at work when he arrives. You may add 2 luck points. Hang on, there was 2 luck here as well. Plus 2 luck. And plus 2 luck. Those were the luck points I accidentally put on 250, I guess. That's a lot of luck points in one go, actually. As the danger of losing your job has now passed. At 5 o'clock, you leave. Will you change into the Silver Crusader and visit police headquarters to find out why so little has been happening on the crime front all day? Or will you pay a surprise visit on your aunt who lives out in the suburbs? On the aunt. So, hang on, what was the thing with the aunt again? Oh, yeah, so that's the one's up there. The aunt, there was... I did go to my aunt last time, so I'm going to go to the police station and see what's going on. 245. Lieutenant Wojak shakes your hand enthusiastically as you enter police headquarters. Crusader, hi, good to see you. Come into my office. He tells you that apart from the usual muggings, break-ins, and auto thefts, he has just had some disturbing news. There has been a well-organized jailbreak at Woodworm Scrubs, the high-security prison. Marcus Buletta, who was serving a 14-year sentence, climbed over the wall with a rope ladder and escaped in a waiting van disguised as an ambulance. Also, Central Hospital has just reported a strange admission. Someone named Winston Woods, whose head and hands are rough and hairy like those of a great ape. Do you wish to investigate the strange case at the hospital? Will you go shopping? What does this book keep asking me if I want to go shopping? I don't know yet. There must be something worth buying. Or will you tell the police to keep you informed and go to visit your aunt? Okay, so... So shopping. I'll just put them down there. Shopping, is that the same as another I've had other paragraphs about shopping. I'm just seeing if that is any of... No, because that's the day before, isn't it? You asked if you want to go shopping. Let's put that aside. Okay, so 94 shopping, 190 Ape Man. I'll just call it Ape Man. Okay, I'm just going to check out the strange case at the hospital. 190. You arrive at Central Hospital and ask at the desk about the strange admission. You are regarded suspiciously, and one nurse, turning her nose up, says, "What do you want to know? Are you one of those gutter press reporters?" You show her the emblem on the chest of your costume, but she is unimpressed. Yeah, so that's where Shania Twain works when she's not doing singing, I guess. Finally, a police officer fills you in. "Yeah, I know who you're looking for, Crusader. Something strange going on there, if you ask me. But the guy died an hour ago. He's gone down to the morgue. There's not much more you can do here. Will you leave and head for your aunt's? Or do you want to check the morgue anyway?" So I'll check the morgue anyway. Okay, Okay, so we had like so, or we can go to the morgue. 3, 9, 5. I'm checking out the morgue. An obliging attendant is happy to show you the body of the mysterious man. He looks up a file and reaches for the handle on a cadaver drawer. His eyes open wide as he pulls the drawer out. It is empty. He double checks the number and shakes his head. I can't understand it, he says. I put him in here myself, and I've been here all the time except for my coffee break. The trail ends here. There are no clues as to the whereabouts of the missing body. You can leave the hospital by turning to 226. 226. Where will you head for now? If you wish to make a visit to your aunt, turn to 134. Still an option. If you prefer to go downtown to see if you can get tickets for a special concert that Georgie Boy and the Vulture Club are giving, turn to 122. Where'd that come from? I thought I was going shopping. They keep asking me if I want to go shopping, and then suddenly I've got time for shopping, and I can't go shopping. Okay, well. Georgie Boy and the Vulture Club. Ah, yes, of course. Vulture Club, Culture Club. Yeah. Right. So 122 is. I'm going to go with the concert ticket. Obviously, that's the odd one out now, and the one I haven't seen before. Crowds of disappointed fans are milling around Addison Square Gardens. Tonight's concert has been cancelled. Georgie Boy is suffering from facial dermatitis. Oh dear. You decide instead to go home and rest. You may add 6 stamina points for the evening's rest. Next morning, you do not have to go to work. Will you go instead to 7th Avenue to watch the arrival of the president? That's probably what I should be doing. Who is paying a visit to Titan City, turn to 21. Or would you rather go to Earl's Court, wordplay on Earl's Court in London, where a special exhibition of home appliances of the future is opening, turn to 425. Now, I've seen some of these before. Let's see if I can find any of them again. So, now the president... Let's say 21. Okay. Okay, so that is from 122. Okay, so 122, okay. And then we have home appliances of the future, 425, which was also an option there, and there it is. So that then goes to 21 or 425. And I'm on page 3 of my map, which means I'm close to the end without a single clue as to the whereabouts of the F.E.A.R meeting, which means that I guess it's not the right path I've been taking this time, but I've learned a lot. So, and it's nice to get a more comprehensive map. So there we are. 21. Presidents. The citizens of Titan City have turned out in their thousands to greet the president. They line both sides of 7th Avenue 6 deep, which of course I calculated last time as I was here that that's not many people at all. And the presidential car is still not due to arrive for half an hour. Spirits are high. There is much flag waving and bands are playing in the streets as a prelude to the arrival. Will you spend the next half hour in a coffee bar waiting for the main procession to arrive, or will you find a place in the crowd which offers a decent view? Or is this where I will follow my clue and go to 121? Because it told me I got a plus 100. I got to add 100 to my paragraph now when I arrive. And that's where I will find the would-be assassin. So if I go to 121, let's see if that is right. So 121. Following the advice you were given, you change into the Silver Crusader and climb the fire escape onto the roof of the Regent Hotel. You arrive just as the president's car is about to pass in the street below. Sure enough, there in the far corner, a man is squatting. He is leaning over the edge of the roof and adjusting the telescopic sight of a high-powered rifle. If you have super strength, turn to 236. Let's see, I'll just put the options down here. That's 4 options. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 236 strength, 57 blast, 177 psi, or 194 ETS. So super strength 236. Quick as a flash, you fly out over the roof, come up in front of the man, and hit him with a blow that knocks the gun out of his hand. Excuse me, I need some water, I think. Right, let's see. So, assassin, skill 9, stamina 8. So 9, 8, which means I got a skill point advantage. He rolls 7, I roll 7, he's down to 6. He rolls 6, I roll 10, he's down to 4. He rolls 6, I roll 7, he's down to 2 and knocked unconscious. So I defeat him and go to, let's see, 9, 8, and go to 258. I presume if you have these other superpowers, you wouldn't actually have to do as many fights as you do when you have super strength. Presumably because you would sort it out in other ways. You pick the assassin up by the collar and demand to know who he is working for. He realizes that the game is up and admits that he works for F.E.A.R. You threaten him with more punishment unless he tells you the whereabouts of the meeting you know is about to take place, but he swears he knows nothing more than that it is due to take place tomorrow. Perhaps he is telling the truth. You hand him over to the police and head for home. You have saved the president's life and may award yourself 6 hero points. Wow. Turn to 311. So, 6 hero points. And it's the last day, and I'm almost done now. You set off home to take some well-deserved rest. The prospect of the F.E.A.R meeting is weighing heavily on your mind, but for the moment you are well advised to relax for the evening. You may gain 6 stamina points for taking it easy. Next morning you are woken not by the alarm clock, but by your crime watch. Beep, beep, beep. This time the message is longer than normal and it repeats itself. Reliable information, F.E.A.R meeting today, whereabouts unknown. You spring out of bed. Today! Do you have any clues as to where the meeting is? Where will you go? And Parker Airport, stay in town, or head towards the waterfront. Yeah, the thing is, I don't have any clues at all now as to where it is. So I still think it is in town, but I don't have the right clues yet. But I'll go to... well, I was quite sure the waterfront was wrong. So I'm going to go to the airport now. Everything is normal at the airport as you arrive. You do not want to cause any panic, so you change into your street clothes and proceed with your plan. You may head for one of the 3 hangars to look for clues. Xavier hangar is where private and executive jets are kept. Summers hangar houses emergency helicopters. McCoy hangar is for cargo aircraft. Which will you investigate? Xavier, Summers, or McCoy? Right. 1, 2, 3. 3, 9, 4, 46, 1, 1, 5. Don't really have any clues at all about would lead me to any of these more than the others, I think. I'll just have to pick one. I'll go with 394. When you arrive in Xavier hangar, mechanics are servicing 2 executive jets. You find a pair of overalls hanging on the wall, slip into them and wander around. There is nothing suspicious. In fact, you're not expecting anything to happen for a couple of hours. What time of day are you expecting the meeting to take place? Add this time to today's date and add the result to this reference. If there is, yeah. Okay, so, well, I did have a time and date in a previous playthrough, did I not? Let's see, do I have it here? I don't think so. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have it here. And also it would be a little bit like cheating, I suppose, if I had it from a previous playthrough. So I don't have anything, and so I turn to 220 in that case. So 220. 220. You wait for some time, but nothing happens. So the thing is, I suppose, I do believe that there was something about the waterfront. It was clear that because when I went to the waterfront the first time, I actually had the date and time. And so, yeah. And that didn't work out. So clearly it is either downtown, where the thing is, when you go downtown, you need the address, it says. That leads me to think that it's, and when I found something that looked like an address, that seemed to be a red herring. So I'm thinking that it is at the airport, and I just need to go back where I was before to find the date and time. So that's my strategy for next time, is to get to the places where I know I will get the date and time. If I can find it again on my map, that is. So, and I still need to find the right hangar, and that's going to be a wild guess. So even with the right date and time, there are 3 options, and I don't know which one is right. So there must be another clue I haven't seen yet. In any case, it seems to indicate to me that the airport is most likely the right location for the meeting, and so I still need a clue to where, and I need to find the clues again to when. Right, so 220. You wait for some time, but nothing happens. Eventually, you give up. Puzzled about the whole affair, you decide to leave the airport and catch a taxi home. The driver has his radio on. As he chats away, the radio splutters and fizzles. The music dies, and an unscheduled announcement interrupts the program. Turn to 292, which is the end paragraph. A steely voice with a sinister tone speaks slowly and clearly. Citizens of the world, it announces. Do not attempt to retune your receivers. This message is being broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously in all languages to all areas of the globe. My name is Vladimir Utoshtsky. I am known as the Titanium Cyborg. My organization is known to you as the Federation of Euro-American Rebels. My message is this. We have taken control of the Star Wars satellite, which orbits the Earth, and that has nothing to do with George Lucas's Star Wars. Star Wars is, in fact, the name of the outer space missile, anti-ballistic missile defense that was initiated, I believe, by Ronald Reagan as a protection against intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia. And so it's a weapon that can shoot down intercontinental ballistic missiles in space. And this was later scrapped, but of course at the time it was a thing. We demand the unconditional surrender of all your governments and military establishments and the submission of all citizens to our leadership. Any resistance will be dealt with harshly. Our satellite will obliterate one by one the major cities of the Earth. As proof of our power, Titan City will be exterminated in exactly 30 seconds. It's a bit bizarre they would start with their own hometown, wouldn't it? I mean, you'd think they would start with somewhere else, like, say, New York City or London or Paris or, yeah, something like that. Your heart sinks. You have failed to stop the fateful meeting of F.E.A.R. The whole world must now pay the penalty. There we are. It is done. Okay, so I've learned a few things, I guess. I've gone through few different paths that seem interesting. I'm still quite keen to find out if, because when you get to the pickpocket on the train, which I didn't do this time, he has 3 items, and I picked a map the first time which had a clue to a location which didn't work with the meeting location at all. So that indicates to me that quite possibly it's a red herring. But it did have a tape, and it did have one more item as well. Yeah, cigarette. What was the clue in the cigarettes? There was a clue with the cigarettes as well, wasn't there? I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, there's still work to be done, and there's still some paths that I haven't quite explored. And also, the thing is, the way this adventure branches, you can't do everything, and so some of the paths you, can't get through every single time. So it'll be quite interesting to play this again and see if I can manage to unfurl this mystery now, and have to study my map a little bit to see where I'm going. So I really like this book still. It's got some really nice mechanics to it with the clues, especially in the way that leads you to another paragraph when there's a hint that it can lead you to another paragraph, which I think is quite clever. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, all those things if you want to support my channel and the videos I make. And I will see you next time with more fighting fantasy or something else. So goodbye for now. Bye bye.